Tonight, Bondi Gaff, the Swans apologise for their pre-game tribute after the AFL was referred to the anti-Semitic Royal Commission.
Victorian taxpayers slugged $125 million to put the COVID hotel quarantine lawsuit to bed.
The Albanese government scrambles to provide fuel relief ahead of another predicted interest rates blow.
Melbourne commuters finally get a taste of tap-and-go train travel.
Denmark's Queen Mary honours her Tasmanian heritage during a visit to the Australian War Memorial.
And Buddy Franklin announces a return to football 3 years after injury forced him to retire.
This is Melbourne's 9 News with Alicia Loxley and Tom Steinfort.
Good evening. The Sydney Swans have admitted they changed the script of a pre-game tribute to victims of the Bondi terror attack, removing references to the Jewish community.
They've apologised for making the blunder as the AFL was referred to the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism. Brett McLeod reports.
Sydney Swans in damage control.
That's on me. I take full responsibility.
Over these comments before their opening round game against Carlton during a tribute to heroes and victims of the Bondi terrorist attack.
To all in our community, we stand with you.
Community was mentioned, but there was no reference anywhere to the Jewish community.
It's bizarre to talk about Australia's worst ever terrorist attack, which targeted the Jewish community. It was on the first night of Hanukkah, and overwhelmingly the victims were Jewish, without acknowledging the fact they were Jewish.
Liberal Senator James Patterson has referred the AFL to the Royal Commission into anti-Semitism, asking who ordered the removal of any references to the Jewish community and why. Matthew Pavlich says it was the Swans, denying they acted at the behest of the AFL.
We worked on it internally. We sent that to the AFL. We also worked on it from there and ended up doing what we did. Again, let me be really clear, is they didn't have any directive whatsoever to change it.
He apologised, saying the intention was to be inclusive and honour all those affected by the massacre.
Having said that, we are very, very sorry that this issue has overshadowed what was a genuine attempt to show care and compassion towards the Jewish community.
Brett McLeod, 9 News.
Victorian taxpayers will be forced to shell out $125 million to settle a lawsuit so the Allen government can avoid having to relive its COVID-era actions in an election year. The opposition's blasted it as another attempt to duck scrutiny. State political reporter Heidi Murphy.
Katerina Bassato is doing what she loves, serving customers in the CBD restaurant she's had for 30 years. COVID shutdowns long over, but
it's a not so distant memory for me.
She's one of the 16,000 business owners who signed up for a class action against the government over 2 lockdowns in 2020 caused by hotel quarantine failings. That lawsuit suddenly settled this morning.
This is the, culmination of over 5 years of litigation.
For Katerina,
it's just a little bit of a win, and I think people feel, well, yes, we're holding the government to account.
The price of the government's call to put the subject to bed.
I understand that the settlement is for $125 million.
The minister's defence, it's actually sparing taxpayers growing legal bills.
I think that's reasonable when we've got to weigh and balance those important considerations and being, fiscally responsible within that context as well.
I'm not sure this government knows what fiscal responsibility is.
The opposition convinced Labor's more interested in avoiding more scrutiny.
It's an election year and the government doesn't want to shine a light on the fact that we saw many businesses go out of business during COVID.
Whatever the motivation,
we're very pleased to have a settlement announced today, which enables our group members, our client and our group members to move on.
The money's actually probably not the important part. It's more about a moral issue.
And Heidi Murphy joins us now. Heidi, you described this to me earlier as the government removing a few barnacles from the side of the ship.
Yeah.
Many more to come?
There are a few, yes. The government is, as of right now, desperately trying to pull out all stops to get youth crime under control. We've got stats due this week that will show if any of that is working. Teachers are about to walk off the job, something we haven't seen during Labor's last 12 years. They will want to land that pay deal sooner rather than later. And the big build corruption claims just aren't going away. Today's court settlement, yes, does spare them plenty of uncomfortable headlines, but there is plenty still to sort out before there is, clear air to campaign.
A few more to go. All right, Heidi, thank you. Panic buying or not, the brutal reality is petrol prices are a staggering $3 a litre for some Australians. The Albanese government is scrambling to make global energy deals as the Reserve Bank gets set to deliver another blow to households tomorrow. Here's Charles Croucher.
From Air Force One, a presidential price pledge.
Prices are going to come tumbling down as soon as it's over, and it's going to be over pretty quickly.
Tonight, Israeli soldiers are preparing for 3 more weeks of war as some Queenslanders prepare to pay $3 a litre for diesel.
Imagine all those tradies out there that have got to fill up their diesel ute. I mean, they need that relief.
The government lowering fuel standards from an Australian refinery to provide some relief, but even that will take time.
We want to see every litre from our domestic refineries going into our domestic market, to our domestic customers, to our farmers, to our truckers.
And the longer fuel stays high, the more likely food prices increase, all in the sights of the Reserve Bank that meets today and may raise interest rates tomorrow.
We're making do with what we've got. We're trying to get that fuel out as quickly as we possibly can.
I don't know that I want to make a deal, because you know what? First of all, nobody even knows who you're dealing with, because most of their leadership has been killed.
With deals in the air, one independent here is urging the federal government to leverage our natural assets as the world looks for energy solutions.
The Strait of Hormuz also a major thoroughfare for global gas, with shortages around the world, but not in Australia.
Since we've got gas but we don't have as much oil, are there deals that to be done that can give us more oil in cost for that gas?
Those very discussions underway tonight in Japan.
But we do have that trusted relationship. I'm very confident that these supplies will continue to come to Australia.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
And Finance Editor Chris Kohler has more on what this means ahead of tomorrow's RBA decision on rates.
All these economists now expect an interest rate hike tomorrow. You can see Australia's big four banks, but also plenty of other big names. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, HSBC. They all expect Australia's cash rate will tomorrow go from 3.85% to 4.1%. The money markets are a bit less certain, but you can see the way the last 6 weeks have gone. After the February rise, the market saw only a 10% chance of a follow-up hike in March. Now it sees about a 64% chance. Inflation had already been running too hot, and a significant rise in oil prices will flow through to that data in the form of fuel costs. Because the RBA is responsible for getting inflation under control, it's expected to move quickly. We'll find out for sure tomorrow, but as it stands tonight, borrowers are bracing for a triple whammy at the Bowser, at the checkout and on the mortgage.
A truck driver has died after his vehicle ran off the road and rolled near Meredith, northwest of Geelong. Transporting a number of horses, it flipped over the safety barrier and down an embankment on a sloping stretch of Slate Quarry Road around 8 o'clock this morning. Police rope rescue technicians were called in to free the trapped driver, but he died at the scene. Several animals also perished.
Passengers on select train lines have been able to commute without a myki today in the first big test for long-awaited new tap-and-go technology. Penelope Leash is at Flinders Street Station tonight for us. Penny, how is the trial going so far?
Alicia, it's been a pretty smooth journey so far. There's been thousands of contactless tap-ons across day one, and commuters have been waiting for this for nearly 3 years. That's when it was first announced, this tap-and-go technology. It's only available at the moment during this trial on 4 train lines, but the government say this is the start of a much bigger rollout. Tapping into a new era.
It was very easy. I used my credit card this morning and it just tapped on and it worked perfectly well.
Super easy, just got my card up and tapped.
It's much easier. The myki thing's really annoying.
There were more than 1,000 contactless connections by 9 a.m, and throughout the day, commuters continued to get on board.
We've seen no significant issues emerge so far.
Now I know about it, I'm definitely going to use it, I reckon.
Only the Craigieburn, Upfield, Ballarat and Seymour lines, including stations in the City Loop, have the tap-and-go technology. You need to use the same device at the beginning and end of your journey and must be travelling on a full fare. Anyone changing train lines or getting on a tram or bus still needs to use a myki. Only gates marked with this artwork have been activated for tap and go. Some stations have just one, with many passengers still opting to use their myki cards.
We're monitoring the taps at each station. If we get loads that start to exceed the number of gates, we may look to open some other gates.
The trial will run throughout March and April. If all goes well, the government says it will expand the technology across more rail lines, then trams and buses.
The government does need to be quite careful because Mikey does have a checkered history, obviously only day one, but hopefully it all goes smoothly and they can push ahead with the rollout as quickly as possible.
Love to see it on buses and all the regional trains.
Penelope Leash, 9 News.
Iran insists it's never asked for a ceasefire and is willing to defend itself for as long as it takes after the US president suggested Tehran was trying to make a deal. It issued the denial as Dubai International Airport again suspended flights after a drone incident. Mimi Becker has today's developments.
A first-person view drone lines up its target, a US airbase in Baghdad. This attack by an Iranian-backed proxy force in Iraq, the first time the group has beaten American defences. It joins a powerful new weapon deployed in Iran's fight. The advanced Scherri-Lee ballistic missile launched at Israel, Iran declaring it's fired 700 missiles and 3,600 drones since the war started, while Israel says it hit 200 Iranian targets in the past day, insisting the mission will better the future for Iranian people.
Prime Minister Netanyahu says the moment is approaching where they can embark on their new path of freedom.
That path could be a long one ahead.
We are ready to defend ourselves as long as it takes.
We've essentially defeated Iran. I guess they can have a little bit of fight back, but not much.
As flights were temporarily suspended at Dubai's international airport after a drone incident caused a fire at one of its fuel tanks, Iran's foreign minister says it has never asked for a ceasefire, denying the US president's claim that Tehran wanted a deal.
We don't see any reason why we should talk with Americans, because we were talking with them when they decided to attack us.
He also rejected Donald Trump's suggestion Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei may not be alive. Conspiracies shot down too today about the welfare of the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, offering proof of life on social media. I'm dying for coffee, he says. Despite the ongoing threat of war, Israel's Home Command has started lifting some government safety restrictions, allowing schools across parts of the country to reopen. As people like Tavor Lahat, an Australian Israeli, contemplate life without war for the next generation.
We love our country, we love living here, we obviously love Australia too. Maybe we should just raise her and raise our children in a safer environment.
In Israel, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
The captain of the Iranian women's soccer team has dropped her asylum bid, becoming the 5th player to now fly home. Anti-regime activists have suggested a team handler remained in Australia to pressure the group to return. Family members of the women have reportedly been threatened or gone missing since their defection. Of the 7 players who initially sought asylum, only 2 remain in Australia.
Fire has torn through a house in Greensborough. Thick smoke filled the air around Jessup Street as firefighters battled the blaze from a crane. Thankfully, no one was inside at the time, but the house may have to be demolished.
Denmark's Queen Mary has mixed with the crowds in Canberra on day 3 of her royal tour with King Frederick. The couple also laid a wreath at the War Memorial before talking trade and climate at Parliament House. Amanda Kopp has the story.
An Australian Queen back home among her people. In the nation's capital, paying respects at the Australian War Memorial at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Placing a poppy in the roll of honour for a Tasmanian soldier killed in the Second World War and buried in Denmark, a connection across time and terrain to the Tasmanian-born Mary. Outside, welcomed with open arms and the King by her side, and it was clear who the crowd was most keen to see.
We got a photo with them and she gave me a hug and said happy birthday because it's my 10th birthday.
It makes you think that the fairy tale can come true.
I'm actually from Melbourne. I got on the road yesterday, regardless of the price of petrol, and came up to see them.
How long was the drive?
7 hours, so a bit of absolutely. The roads were quiet.
This is the royal couple's fourth visit to Australia, but they can still draw a crowd. The public given the chance to meet and greet before it's down to business at Parliament House. Welcomed by the Prime Minister and accompanied by more than 50 Danish businesses, using some royal diplomacy to deepen ties in a changing world.
We are countries with very similar values, in particular the challenge of climate change.
We'd love to walk hand in hand towards the sunset on that one.
First, though, it's a sunset dinner at the Lodge tonight, before jetting off to Melbourne tomorrow. Amanda Kopp, 9 News.
And our 9 News royalty has slipped into the studio. Tony Jones, welcome.
Oh, that's very kind.
Well, you know, I'm in a good mood. It's Monday.
God help us for Friday. But anyway, thank you. Among our stories tonight, the Swans lose their key man for a whopping 4 months. Also tonight, all that big spending and the Saints still have zero in their account. But Rowan Marshall's message to fans is stay strong.
If we bring what we want to bring, we're confident that it stacks up with anybody. So we'll continue to get to work.
Meanwhile, the Demons get their hands on some silverware. Wrong code and wrong country. What about this? Buddy is back.
I'm going to be going back to my junior football club back in WA, West Australia. So Darren Football Club. So I'm going to go back there and play a game.
Shield Cricket's soggy dress rehearsal for the final, and Victoria's great basketball hope facing a mammoth task to stay alive. Also, Sam McClure is going to join us live. Scott Pendlebury at the Tribunal. A clean record, good enough to get him off tomorrow night? Sam will give us his views on that. And I think Sam needs to apologise to me also about North Melbourne.
I see you getting along well with Alicia, but you and Sam are butting heads on Mondays.
Yeah, I can't get on with everyone, Tom.
We've learnt that. Thank you, Tony. We'll see you soon. Ahead in Melbourne's 9 News, fishing trip tragedy. 3 friends found dead after vanishing off the South Australian coast.
A fresh legal battle to keep a man who killed sex workers in Docklands behind bars for longer.
Fuel fears become reality as a Murray River town runs out.
And Aussie stars shine on the Oscars red carpet but miss out on top gongs. The bodies of 3 fishermen have been found off the South Australian coast after they went missing yesterday afternoon. An alarm was raised when the group failed to return to shore at Beach Port in the state's southeast around 2:30, sparking a wide-scale search. Police say the men aged 65, 67 and 74 did not appear to be wearing life jackets.
An international student who killed and robbed 2 women to pay off gambling debts could face more time behind bars. As prosecutors launch a fresh legal battle for a longer sentence, supporters argue the victims were discriminated against because they were sex workers. Court reporter Amber Johnston.
Many of these advocates stay silent, fearing the same violence they're fighting to end. But Damien Nguyen is refusing to be intimidated.
What we heard today is about the perpetrator, not really about the victims.
One of those victims is Yong Suk Jung, a friend and fellow sex worker. The 51-year-old was killed by Zhao Shen Lin at her Docklands apartment in 2022. Another sex worker was also killed by Lin that same night at her Latrobe Street apartment. The international student admitted he robbed them after they were killed to clear his gambling debts. The 25-year-old was jailed for 14 years but could be out in 5 after his charges were downgraded to manslaughter. Now, Victoria's top prosecutor is bringing the case back to court, arguing Lin's sentence is not enough for a crime he says falls short of murder. Lin appeared on a video link dressed in prison greens. He was hunched over at a desk and showed no emotion as his lawyer argued against the appeal. Dermot Dan Casey argued the sentencing judge had taken every relevant consideration into account and Lin's sentence was entirely appropriate.
Asian migrant sex workers in this country are faced with an immense amount of violence due to the failure in legislating for our rights.
Red lanterns strung across the Supreme Court as 3 judges consider the killer's fate. Amber Johnston, 9 News.
A small town on the Murray River has become the first in Victoria to run out of fuel. Robinvale, around 70 kilometres southeast of Mildura, has 3 service stations, all of which were pumped dry over the weekend.
We had a small allocation of unleaded yesterday, which only lasted a couple of hours, even rationing it off at $50 per car. Now we're completely out.
A fresh supply has now been dropped off at the local Ampol, but limits remain in place, and there are concerns the fuel shortage could impact the town's fruit and almond harvest.
One battle after another has dominated this year's Oscars, winning 6 gongs, including Best Picture and Best Director.
While our Aussie hopefuls may have missed out, the Academy Awards were a little more golden than usual. Reid Butler reports from Hollywood.
It was feathers, sparkles and suave for Hollywood's elite on the red carpet. But the ultimate accessory for the night was a gold statue.
And the Oscar goes to...
And it was one win after another for one battle after another, taking home Best Picture.
One battle after another.
And Best Director. Sinners, the most nominated film in Oscars history, ending up with 4 wins. Best Actor, Michael B. Jordan, beating Timothée Chalamet and Leonardo DiCaprio.
I stand here because of the people that came before me. Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, Will Smith.
Our own Rose Byrne against stiff competition, losing Best Actress to Hamnet's Jessie Buckley.
So I would like to dedicate this to the beautiful chaos of a mother's heart.
While Brisbane-born Jacob Elordi missed out on Best Supporting Actor to veteran Sean Penn. But animated film K-pop Demon Hunters couldn't be stopped. It's track golden, given the statue, which is exactly that. The Earworm, the first K-pop tune to win the Best Song category. But while celebrating the new, there was a nod to hits of the past.
Love is all you need.
And the legacy of those who have been lost in the last year was felt deeply. Billy Crystal honouring his friend, director and actor Rob Reiner, killed alongside his wife in December.
My friend Rob's movies will last for lifetimes. That it meant everything to him, that his work meant something to you.
Rachel McAdams, remembering her mentor, Diane Keaton.
She wore so many hats, literally and figuratively.
Comedic king Conan O'Brien was back hosting for a second time.
Last year, when I hosted, Los Angeles was on fire. But this year, everything's going great.
And there were political statements on and off the stage.
No to war and free Palestine.
America and Israel's war with Iran leading to unprecedented security measures.
A lot of Hollywood right now is essentially in lockdown. 1,000 security personnel down there at the Dolby Theatre and snipers on the roofs.
But in the end, the Oscars were executed without a hitch for almost everyone.
Anna, just curious, what do you think of my dress tonight?
And the nominees are...
In Hollywood, Reid Butler, 9 News.
Well, from a glorious sunny weekend, we started the working week with grey skies and showers. Scherri-Lee Biggs is here now with the weather details. Is it going to be changing anytime soon?
Well, at least it timed quite nicely for all our weekend activities and outings, Alicia, but it was all a bit gloomy for our Monday with low clouds streaming across most of the state. A shot here from one of our viewers shows a moody but calm morning in Williamstown. Now, there were a few scattered showers circulating as a trough moved into the northeast of the state, which copped up to 20 millimetres with storms in Osborne's Flat. The Otways collecting a bit as well. Aireys Inlet measured around 12 millimetres. Now, for the city gauge, it was less than a millimetre, the cloud capping today's temperature at 20 degrees. We could see showers increasing from around 8 o'clock tonight, but that trough and rain band should clear eastward by lunchtime tomorrow, giving us a bit of reprieve. Making way for a mild and settled week ahead of us, but I'll have all of those details coming up soon, guys.
See you then, Sherry. Thank you. When we return, cracking down on ram raids, tougher penalties for brazen thieves who smash their way into businesses.
North Koreans head to the polls with only one candidate on the ballots.
Plus, a phone ban credited for remarkable results at a suburban school.
And a curious bear sniffs out a scoop live on TV.
Ram raiders will face up to 25 years behind bars under harsh new laws to crack down on retail crime. The government says it's getting tough on crime, but the opposition claims that it's all talk, no action. Julia Passarelli has more.
Reckless thieves on a wild rampage, smashing into shop fronts during a destructive heist 16 months ago. Standing in that Forest Hill shopping centre today, the Attorney-General announcing tougher ram raiding laws are now in force.
Ram raiding will now be recognised as aggravated burglary. It is violent, it is dangerous.
The stronger penalty means criminals can be jailed for up to 25 years. Ram raiding will also fall under the new adult time for violent crime laws, so teens would go straight to a higher court.
Previously, police would have used a combination of much lower offences. So, for example, theft, burglary, criminal damage.
Is an important step to preventing such significant catastrophes.
The new penalty is significant compared to those for other crimes. The maximum for culpable driving causing death is 20 years behind bars. For arson, it's up to 15 years.
This is a government that doesn't know how to manage the crime crisis, and we've seen the raft of legislation come through the parliament that doesn't make sense.
Another promised change to make life safer for retail staff is workplace protection orders, and legislation was meant to be introduced next month. But the Attorney-General couldn't commit to the time frame today.
It is very complex, but we are working through that right now, and I do intend to bring those in as soon as I possibly can.
Julia Passarelli, 9 News.
For the first time in 7 years, North Koreans are heading to the polls to elect a parliament. In previous elections, voters were usually presented with only one pre-selected candidate. The ballot was announced as Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un and his teenage daughter watched a live fire test of a rocket launch system.
A private school in Melbourne southeast says it's seeing remarkable academic and social improvements after implementing one of the toughest mobile technology bans in the country. Experts have told Eliza Rugg it also helps parents who want to delay getting their child a phone.
Lunchtime at Casey Grammar is busy and loud, with no mobile technology in sight.
It's really nice to see everybody coming together, like playing poker, playing card games.
While phone bans have been in place across schools for years, students are still tempted.
Checking their phones every recess, every lunchtime, and their learning was interrupted.
Principal Fiona Williams decided to get tougher.
Any personal device that can connect to the internet, earbuds, smartwatches, smartphones, are banned.
As soon as the phones were removed, there was just so much more interaction.
There was no real pushback from parents either, as families look for support in navigating the teen social media ban.
We basically reclaimed childhood. The sound of children laughing together instead of scrolling alone.
Only senior students can bring their phones if they're turned off and locked up. Others need written permission to bring a simple phone with no internet access.
They can use it once they walk out the gate, but certainly not on the school grounds.
As for parents wanting to track their child's movements,
we've negotiated with them to get an AirTag and put it in their child's school bags.
With other schools now looking to copy this policy, the state government says it's working with Catholic and independent schools to review its approach as the race continues to try to keep up with technology that is constantly evolving. And if students really need to contact mum or dad, they can pick up the school's trusty landline while their preferred device stays at home.
I know that it's going to be there later on.
Eliza Rugg, 9 News.
Well, TV news outlets in California really love live police chases and wild animals. And so this reporter really kept her cool when a black bear roaming a suburban neighbourhood suddenly appeared behind her while she was on air.
It's walking out this way. We may get back in the car depending on what it does, but right now you can see it here in the driveway.
As for the bear, it wasn't sure what all the fuss was about and happily wandered away.
All right, still to come, Ozempic for kids. What's behind the bold claim that Aussie children should be given the weight loss drug?
Chris Kohler explains how the looming rates hike impacted the share market.
Plus why half of Victorian children are missing out on school camps.
And every dog has its day as the Victorian Greyhound Adoption Program celebrates a special milestone.
Tomorrow's looming interest rate rise weighed on the share market today. Chris Kohler has the details.
With more and more economists predicting a rate hike tomorrow from the RBA, investors today were in no mood to buy. The share market slipped to a 3-month low as big mining companies fell sharply. The price of iron ore dropped and the price of oil remains above $100 a barrel. Coals, some of the banks and of course energy stocks rose, but not enough to pull the index higher. Woodside is actually up more than 30% so far this year and was the most traded stock on our index last week. The Australian dollar, meanwhile, was trading at 70 US cents this afternoon and remains near multi-decade highs against the Japanese yen.
Doctors are pushing back at a Danish company calling for its popular weight loss drug to be given to children with obesity. The CEO is asking the federal government to expand a taxpayer subsidy of Ozempic, but GPs say there are more affordable options. National Affairs Editor Andrew Probyn.
He's not Danish royalty, but his company's become the king of pharmaceuticals.
Thinner people have less issues with health.
Ozempic, a weight loss injection, has made Novo Nordisk Europe's richest corporate. Its chief executive claiming Australia has what it takes to tackle obesity.
Not just treat it, but actually prevent it at scale.
But of course, his company's product isn't for free. Ozempic and other so-called GLP-1 drugs can cost more than $400 a month. And once you're on them, you're typically advised to stay on them.
They are expensive and there's a lot of other treatments available that might be more appropriate and a better first line.
Currently, only people with type 2 diabetes get subsidised access to the drugs through the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme, when the company claims millions more would benefit, including adolescents whose increasing rates of obesity in Western countries is affecting life expectancy.
Tested and tried on adolescents and making sure that they're safe. So if support and help is needed on that front, also it's available so we don't discriminate the age.
We certainly need more evidence before we look at that.
Especially when the company's own advertising says Ozempic is not for children. Not to mention that subsidising GLP-1s on a massive scale would cripple the federal health budget. Andrew Probyn, 9 News.
Almost half of Victorian school kids are missing out on going to camp, with cost of living the biggest issue for families. The Victorian government announced a $400 rebate last year, but it hasn't stopped student numbers dropping to just 52%.
Camps, as much as they're fun, they are educational and they're missing out on that opportunity. The government provide funding here in Victoria to the schools, but what we're hearing is that it's not enough.
Schools are also cutting back due to the cost of paying teachers time in lieu.
Well, the days of greyhounds being confined to racetracks are long gone, thanks to an adoption program which today celebrated its 30th birthday. So successful has it been, 20,000 dogs have moved from kennels to couches. More from Tony Jones.
When we say this party went to the dogs, that's exactly how it was intended.
Happy birthday to you, hip hooray!
Greyhounds were the guests of honour, celebrating 30 years of Victoria's adoption program. And these are the ladies, Anita and Mel, a couple of vet nurses who came up with the adoption idea back in 1996.
100 adoptions in the first year.
Yep.
What are the numbers like now?
I think 20,000, something like that. So, yeah, come a long way.
Anita was the first to adopt, and it was Hootie who found a new home. She was a trailblazer in changing public perception.
One of the biggest things that I think Mel and I did well at the start was just getting them out into the public, because people had only seen them walking with a muzzle on and had no concept of what their nature is like.
TV personality Todd McKenney has had a long association with the adoption program. Fitzroy Fred is his latest.
Well, I live in an old chocolate factory where Freddo frogs were made.
And so that's how he got Freddo to start with, and it just morphed into Fitzroy Fred, and now he gets Fitzy. So when he turns up at the park, people start screaming Fitzy.
Fred, or Fitzy, just so happens to be the 20,000th greyhound to be adopted.
Back in 2009, when I got my first greyhound, yes, I was more or less told I wasn't welcome at the dog park because people were uneducated about what great dogs they are as pets. But nowadays, that's all changed.
And Fred is actually the star of the McKenny household, having won the 2023 Sandown Cup. His career prize money nudging $400,000. Today, a surprise reunion with Fred's trainer. But with his racing days over, the only lure in retirement was a loving home.
He's just up for a cuddle and, like myself, really.
Tony Jones, 9 News.
Very nice. And Tony's here now with tonight's sport.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Alicia, coming up tonight. It was all going so well, wasn't it? But now the injury-hit Swans are reeling. Also tonight, EPL meets AFL, and it's the D's who get up close to a trophy royalty. Buddy heads back to where it all began, and he's bringing a crowd with him. And the Phoenix boys, one giant step away from a grand final series. St Kilda's Rowan Marshall has admitted his side is still a work in progress, following a very disappointing start to the season. The much-hyped new-look Saints have failed to fire early, setting up a crunch game with GWS on Saturday. Owen Leonard reports.
Rowan Marshall spent his off-season gracing the unique and arid fairways of Cooper Pedy.
A different experience to what we're used to here on the sandbelt in Melbourne, but had a great time.
Helping launch the Coopers' mild Cooper Pedy Classic, celebrating a town known for those living underground, the Saints yet to get their season off the ground.
Still work in progress, but we're really confident with the strides we've made throughout the pre-season.
Marshall missed the surprise loss to Melbourne in concussion protocols, but he's set to return this weekend.
Got a few more boxes to tick, but so far so good.
It comes after a failed bid to get to Geelong last year, now working in tandem with Tom de Koning, who's taken his job as the #1 ruck.
I've got a great relationship with everyone, and all I want to do is just put my head down, work hard and give everything I can to the footy club.
After a spending spree to bring big names to the club, Saints fans are simply expecting wins. Now they'll be trying to avoid an 0-3 start to the season with GWS awaiting. The Premier League trophy stopping by the MCG, capping a dream couple of days for Christian Salem. Yesterday, helping the D's defy the odds. A mad Arsenal fan, his childhood hero Theo Walcott cheered them on.
I'm sure you're a bit confused at times, thinking what the hell is going on.
I mean, down next to me, actually, I was really picking his brain I was really wanting to know what was going on.
We did play some free-flowing football, probably too much at times, but new coach, new system, we'll find the balance.
Owen Leonard, 9 News.
Well, one of the game's greatest ever players is set to pull the boots on once more. 3 years after retiring, Buddy Franklin will return to his junior club in WA. Joel Kennedy joins us live now with the details. And Joel, they're already the hottest tickets in town.
Yeah, that's right, Tony. One of the AFL's greatest ever goal kickers is set to return where it all started in Western Australia, almost 3 years after retiring from the game. Lance Franklin, he's right there, set to pull on the boots once again for his junior club Dowran on April 18 as part of a fundraiser to help raise $300,000 for new lighting at the club home ground. Set to be a major boost for the Tigers. Now, this is a ticketed event with thousands tipped to flock to the club to catch a glimpse of the 4-time Coleman medalist. Located 156 kilometres northeast of Perth, Dowran holds approximately 750 people. Franklin announcing his return via his podcast alongside Shane Crawford today.
I'm going to be going back to my junior football club back in WA, West Australia. So Dowran Football Club. So I'm going to go back there and play a game. It's definitely got to bring back a lot of memories, isn't it? Obviously started there when I was 6 years of age. So obviously to get the opportunity to go back there, but this is for the town itself too, Crawf, giving back.
Meanwhile, devastating news out of Sydney with gun Errol Goulden set to be sidelined for up to 4 months after dislocating his shoulder over the weekend. The 23-year-old will undergo surgery this week, and after missing a bulk of the season last year with a serious ankle injury, it's just terrible news for the club. Teammate Isaac Heaney is also under an injury cloud with lower leg tightness, still undetermined if he will be right to go against Hawthorn. The club on a 5-day break. And finally, after amassing a game-high 32 disposals in Carlton's win over Richmond, Jagger Smith has been crowned this week's Rising Star. TJ, I think a few Blues supporters would argue he's already a star.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Jolly. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that. More football, and Collingwood veteran Scott Pendlebury will head to the tribunal tomorrow night, trying to keep his unblemished record intact. Sam McClure joins us live now ahead of Footy Classified tonight. Sam, 426 games, no suspensions. Now, will or should that record save him?
Well, it's an interesting question, TJ. Good evening to you. I mean, surely the good bloke clause, if there was one, would be used on Scott Pendlebury. But that clause you're referring to was technically closed by the AFL in 2024 after Charlie Cameron successfully used it. I'm not sure they'll need it, to be honest, TJ. I'm not sure this bump, or this brace, as he put it on radio, warrants a one-match ban. And I'm betting that wiser heads prevail here and that Scott Pendlebury will be released.
Well, I mean, if you do the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, but it would be a shame to see his record blemished on the back of something that's probably 50-50.
A massive shame. And to your point, 50-50. Surely he plays this week.
All right, now, over the summer, we had a rather robust conversation off-air about North Melbourne. I think they can challenge for the wild card. Based on what you saw yesterday, are you prepared to apologise?
No, there'll be no apology forthcoming. Firstly, it's one game, TJ. And secondly, you're not really going out on a limb by saying that one team in an 18-team competition can challenge for the top 10 spots. So what if they finish fourth last and missed 10th spot by 3 games? Are you going to be claiming that you were right, that they were challenging for the top 10?
Well, yeah.
Oh, well, that's not really going out on a limb, is it? If you said they were going to finish top 6 and win a final, that's a pretty good prediction.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm not sure what the argument's about.
Well, we'll revisit this one later in the season, I dare suggest.
I dare suggest we will. It's only one game, TJ.
All right, see you tonight on Footy Classified.
Thanks, TJ.
All right, good work, Sam McClure there. Victoria's preparations for next week's Sheffield Shield final have certainly hit a bit of a speed bump, with rain delaying the last game of the season against South Australia. Ollie Peake led the way with the bat, making 59 runs before being caught.
A little bit easier. Oh, that's a very good ball and a wicket. So now it's Peake who is out.
Still pretty good practice, however, as the Vicks will face the South Aussies in the decider. South East Melbourne Phoenix co-captain Nathan Souby has declared there is no added pressure ahead of a win or go home semi-final against the Adelaide 36ers tomorrow night. The Phoenix will have to overcome hostile territory in Game 3 if they're to take part in the club's first grand final series.
I wouldn't say the boys are feeling the pressure. I think they're up to the challenge. Going into a hostile environment, Game 3, everything's on the line sort of thing. It's fun. It's what you play basketball this time of the year, to be able to do these sorts of things.
The winner of tomorrow's semi-final will face the Sydney Kings in the grand final. Did Sam McClure get the better of me then?
Absolutely smashed you.
I think so, yeah.
He's
There's
gone.
always next week,
He's
as
gone.
the Saints say.
There won't be a next week for Sam if you got better of me.
Thank you, Tony. All right, let's check in with Scherri to see what the weather has in store for us this week. Is it warming up at all?
Oh, look, Alicia, it's looking rather mild this week. It is getting up to 25 degrees by Friday, but we should get some sunny breaks in the mix. I'll have the details coming up next.
9 News is the place to turn for the moments that matter.
Public transport is completely...
Keep yourself informed with the free 9 News app. Watch breaking news when it happens, wherever you are.
9 News can review...
Get news alerts when you need them most. 9 News is your news on the 9 News app.
Hello again. Well, at least we didn't have any sunny skies to pine over as we started our work week. With all that cloud, the city peaked at 20 degrees after 4 o'clock. Humidity and light winds meant it didn't feel too chilly either. Now, there were scattered showers, not landing a huge amount in the gauges around town today. Geelong measured over 5 millimetres and only managed a cooler top of 17 today. The Otways copped a few heavier downpours. Aireys Inlet collecting 12 millimetres. It was much cooler down that way as well, making it to just 16 degrees. Now, it all came from a trough over Victoria, which is drawing on a feed of tropical moisture again. You can see some very heavy rain through northern parts of South Australia. That patchy rain will continue tonight into Victoria until this trough and rain band clears to the east, giving us some clear skies ahead. And looking ahead around the country now, Sydney overcast and a warm 31 21 tomorrow. Adelaide, much of the same, but heading for 26 degrees. Perth, sunny and 35. And heading back to Victoria, as the wet weather clears, it will linger around Gippsland and the northeast districts. Shepparton could collect 15 millimetres tomorrow. And away from the Alps, mild maximums ranging between 20 and 25 degrees statewide. Showers will linger across Melbourne tonight and tomorrow morning. Eastern suburbs and the ranges should collect a bit more. Up to 8 millimetres is expected in Yarra Glen, a top of 21, and feeling a bit fresh in the Dandenongs. Ferny Creek heading for a top of 17. Geelong will collect less than a millimetre of rain tomorrow, with showers clearing by mid-morning. A top of 21 degrees should feel closer to 18 with an onshore breeze. In the city, we could collect up to 4 millimetres in the morning, which will clear to cloud by lunchtime, and we're heading for a mild 21 degrees as well. A bit more blue sky to soak up on Wednesday, a top of 23. Our mornings are looking mild in the mid-teens, clouding over again on Thursday with a slight risk of a shower, warming despite overcast skies on Friday with a top of 25. And we can expect a start to the weekend with some light showers again. Should clear up by Sunday though, so there won't be much in the wet weather tomorrow. Showers will be scattered, so you could see up to 4 millimetres, maybe a bit more if you are in the east. But if you're riding your bike into work, then it's going to be a bit of a damp ride in.
It is good to know, Sherry. Thank you very much for that. And that is 9 News this Monday. Ali is up next with a current affair.
We hope you have a great evening. For now, it's good night.